Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Raw Recap here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. I am your host, John Rocha. I am still coming off the high of an incredible Raw last night. I am joined, as always, by the editor-in-chief there. You don't stop crying about it. Of the Pro Wrestling Sheet. I'm still going to say the Pro Wrestling Sheet. You'll never stop me at that. Ryan Satin, how are you, brother?
I am doing fantastic. We've got the episode that went out of Top 10.
Yes.
I'm excited to see people talking about that. Rocha and I did a little guest spot on Rocha's podcast, The Top 10, with he and Matt Nost.
Yeah.
And we listed our top 10 favorite wrestling movies starring professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I like seeing all the reactions to it so far.
Yeah, and you're surprised at how many movies qualify for this, right? It isn't just Ready to Rumble. There's a number of great respected films that have professional wrestlers now in them, and that was fun to discover as we were doing these lists.
Yeah, as you'll probably expect, since Rocha and Matt are much more cinephile types, I have some different additions on my list than
yes,
they have.
He does.
But also, I was going to say, someone replied to the one of your guys' posts with their own list, and they mentioned The Godfather?
Yeah. Luca Brasi was a wrestler in the 50s and 60s.
Wait, who?
Luca Brasi, the one that was choked out, the one that was like, on the day of your daughter's wedding.
Yeah,
that
he was
guy
a wrestler in the 60s?
He was a professional wrestler in the 50s and 60s, yes.
Okay, well now, shit.
Yeah, it could have qualified.
That could have qualified.
I thought his part was too small, which is why I didn't throw it in there, and he wasn't that well-known of a wrestler.
Yeah, he's definitely not, I didn't even know, and I've seen The Godfather.
Yeah, totally a wrestler. He only acted in 2 or 3 things. But yeah, absolutely a pro wrestler.
I can't believe in all my research that I did for 30 minutes while I was trying to figure out which movies I was going to pick. I can't believe that's not on any of the lists. That doesn't even mention it. That doesn't even get a nod.
So I saw it on a couple lists during research.
Right.
I also saw Requiem for a Heavyweight, which is the Anthony Quinn, Mickey Rooney 1950s film that had him becoming a pro wrestler after he couldn't be a boxer anymore.
Okay.
And there are a couple of pro wrestlers. I think a young Chief Jay Strongbow or Chief Jay Strongbow's dad is in that film.
Oh,
so,
crazy.
Yeah, fascinating stuff.
All right, I like it. Yeah, you guys, I guarantee you guys enjoyed the episode. It was a really fun conversation.
Yeah,
you guys already enjoyed listening to us here. There's just one other guy added to the conversation.
Even funnier
who's
guy
also
added.
funny.
Yes,
yeah, very, very fun conversation. Good stuff.
Yeah, you can find that, The Top 10, anywhere you download podcasts. Just look for me and Matt Nost, and you'll see that episode there. All right.
And speaking of good things, I loved Raw last night.
Yeah, talk about it.
Raw was great. Raw was so good. I feel like there was only one thing I didn't enjoy on the show, and we're gonna have fun talking about that. There's only one thing.
Yeah, I would say one thing.
I bet you it's the same thing. That's going to be fun to talk about.
I wonder if it'll be the same thing. We'll see. All right, so let's get into it. We start with this mosh. Oh, no, by the way, this is a Paul Heyman Raw, would you say?
That's what I haven't found out for sure yet, but that
certainly felt this way.
100% it felt that way, and that is what the thing I've seen online. This is the most Heyman influenced Raw yet.
I agree. A good mixture of the top brand and the independent brand mixed in the styles here, and I would like the way it worked.
And wrestling.
That's not, and wrestling.
A lot of wrestling.
There was not a lot of backstage stuff, not a lot of vignettes, not a lot of interviews. Everything happened in front of the audiences in the ring.
And it was a lot of wrestling, but still had character building with it too.
Yes, it did.
Yes, really good stuff.
Oh, we start out with a Mosh Pit mixed tag team match for the 24/7 championship.
Which was such a random name.
Just throw it in a Mosh Pit. Talk about going back to the 90s.
Also,
which is where ECW was. Yeah.
Before we even get into the Mosh Pit madness or whatever it's called, I loved the opening thing on the 24/7 title too.
Yeah.
The vignette they did. It was so funny how they were talking about like the legacy of WWE, and then to have the whole thing on the 24/7 title really shows you how over that title has gotten. I mean, not to be like a dick, but like you don't even see the women's tag titles really even talked about really, and this title came after.
Yeah, when you put them on, who you put them on. All right,
I knew you were gonna say that. When I said that.
This was a good tag team match, fun, quick though.
Yeah.
With you had R-Truth come down with Carmella, great doing the rap thing. That's the most she's done that in a bit.
I was gonna say that was new, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little extra stuff that you got there, and maybe because we're getting into this kind of where R-Truth isn't gonna have the belt for a majority of the time anymore. Maybe Carmella came down one last one. And Carmella needs to start moving into the singles championship conversation more and more. So.
Especially now that women are allowed to win the title.
Exactly. So that's part of it. And we see here against Drake Maverick and his wife, Renee Michelle, I think her name is. Good back and forth fun. Once again, over quickly.
And did you notice she was wearing green and gold for her attire too?
Oh, good point.
She tweeted about it afterwards. I didn't notice it while watching it. Yeah, I didn't either. She said something like, I wore, since my husband can't stop obsessing over something that's like green and gold, I thought I'd wear it to get his attention, and it still didn't work, or something like that.
Oh, Jesus. There's only 2 M's in consummate, Drake. So you see this back at this guy, and then R-Truth ends up winning this thing. But it was, in essence, kind of a mini lumberjack match as well.
Yeah, totally.
With all the people who would possibly want to win the title around them, which I thought was brilliant. Maverick gets thrown into them. He gets pushed back in the ring. Eventually, R-Truth gets the pin. And then as he's celebrating, all the guys jump onto the ring and then jump on top of him. Mike Kanellis being the first one to jump on top of him. And because it was a dog pile, he gets the 3 pin by default in a way.
Makes sense. He was the first one that slid on top.
It's hard to kick off 20 people.
He got lucky by being able to wiggle his way out of there, for sure.
He slid out of there with the title, runs back to the back, and that's that. This was a great way to start Raw.
Loved it. I was cracking up the whole time. I feel like, Drake did what he needed to do. I like that he has his own attire. He's got his own gear now. He was there with his wife. We get Renee Michelle in a match on Raw.
Yeah.
I like that.
So is she officially a part? Or
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm sure she's getting paid to be there.
Just for this vignette. Just for the storyline.
I don't think she's been signed officially yet.
All right.
Like as a full-time performer or anything like that. But really fun stuff here. I loved that moment when they carried Drake, only because it finally made the mosh pit thing make sense, because it was like he was crowd surfing as opposed to them all beating him up. It was like a crowd surf moment.
Right.
I was not expecting Mike Kanellis to win the 24/7 title, but everything that transpired afterwards was just insane. Is this the thing that you didn't like? Oh no, this is not the thing that I didn't like. I love this.
I knew you would. I knew you'd love this. I feel like
the thing I didn't like, you didn't like either, though. Don't worry.
All right, the 5-man gauntlet match happens after really no time to rest.
Wait, you're skipping the best part.
Go ahead, tell me.
You're skipping the best part of the fucking show.
What's the best part?
Mike Kanellis runs backstage.
Oh, right, yeah, they're all waiting for him.
He runs backstage, they're banging on the door.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to, he's not answering, obviously.
You're right.
And then Maria comes walking over and acting like she's having, stomach pains because of her pregnancy, and everyone has this, oh, shit, disgusted look on their face.
She knocks on the door.
They walk away to leave her space because they don't want to mess with a pregnant woman. She knocks on the door. You can't come in. It's your wife. How do I know it's my wife?
That was like Carmella imitating my wife.
She says, because if you don't open this door right now, I am going to kick you in the vagina. I died. My girlfriend and I were in tears laughing at all of this. And even when they come back from that and commentary, Michael Cole said something like, well, I'd like to congratulate him on his big win, but that's not really the right moment for that, or whatever he said, something along those lines. You didn't love that?
Not at all.
Why? It was hilarious. You're the only person I've seen that said they didn't like it.
It's fine. I don't mind standing alone.
What did you dislike about it?
I don't like anything with this Kanellis stuff. I don't like it at all. I think it's terrible. I think
even
it's
the
boring.
stuff that followed after?
Yeah, even worse. That was even
boring.
Worse. Yeah, I do find it boring.
What?
I do. Sorry, I do. It's boring to me. Oh, I'm pregnant. It's not for me. It's just not for me. I'm sure they're fully committed to what they're doing. I don't buy a second of it.
Second of what?
A second of whatever they're doing. I don't buy a second of it.
What do you mean when you say that?
I mean, it's not fun to me. It's transparent. She's not that good of an actress. So it's so it's just boring to me. And Mike too. I don't think either of them are good at what they're doing in terms of the acting wise. So it bores me. I don't like it.
I mean, but it's supposed to be cheesy.
Yeah,
I get that. Fun.
I get that it's supposed to be cheesy, and I've enjoyed cheesy things for numerous decades in wrestling. But this just doesn't work for me. I don't think they're the right people to do this angle with. But I get that people like it, so I'm comfortable being in the minority on it.
Are we gonna get to the other part with them?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, that comes a little bit later.
We'll
right?
Yeah,
that comes a little bit later.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We'll get to it.
Yeah, let's jump back into the wrestling 5-man gauntlet match out of nowhere here to determine AJ Styles SummerSlam.
It was announced during the day.
Opponent. It was. But I mean, if you didn't follow him on social media, you're like, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah.
So this was fantastic.
Oh, so good.
Great matches. Even I know some people might complain that Sami Zayn got in and out quickly, but it's when you've got to get to all these other matches and Sami's involved in other storylines, this was fun. I mean, the opening Cesaro and Rey match That's pay-per-view level what they did. And as if that wasn't enough, right? Zayn slides in here, does his thing. Then Ray gets it on with Andrade, which is
only because there's so many multiple matches here. Let's break them down a little bit.
All right.
One, the Cesaro thing.
Yeah,
dude, those two are so good.
Yes,
like in the ring, they mesh so well together.
Two veterans, man.
I love it. I love it so much. That spot when that Rey Mysterio kind of does now, where it's like the shoulders to the outside, where they flip over, and then the other person lands on their feet and still has them on the shoulder. That is insane.
Yep.
It looks insane. It is such a like. The fact that we just see that now, we're like, oh, that's a thing that happened, and we're not just like, holy shit, that's the craziest thing, blows my mind. That takes such balance.
Yep.
I mean, similarly to what happened in the tag match later, where Carl Anderson did that, like, it was like,
oh yeah,
the suplex to the outside that landed, and then the Dawson DDT'd him, crazy too.
Yes.
But both of these, I was just like, fuck, whoa, that's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Also, Mysterio's gear looked awesome.
Yep.
I respect so much that he's got so much gear, and it looked so cool. But just those two in general, like, I want to see a full program between Cesaro and Rey Mysterio at some point.
Isn't Rey in his 50s?
No. I'd have to look at it. Look it up, because I don't know.
I feel like Rey's in his 50s.
I mean,
and if
no
he
matter
is
what
50s,
age he's
it's
in,
pretty damn incredible.
Honestly, even if he's in his late 40s, it's damn incredible.
Okay.
I feel like he's probably in his mid 40s, right?
I know, you're right. 44. Yeah, 44. I apologize. 44.
Yeah, but even then, still, he literally did this thing, thing where he like slides under the rope and then lands on them on the outside or whatever, doesn't like the splash, and you go like, God, his knees, man, that's gonna hurt your knees. That's the magic of stem cells, dude.
I guess so.
That's the stem cells. From what I hear, dude.
Yeah.
Stem cells are like the game changer.
I got to get on it now that Josh McCouga broke both my knees on the concrete. I got to get on this thing if it really helps your knees. That's for damn sure. But you know what was great about this match? This part of the match is two veterans going at it. Two fantastic veterans going at it. And almost as this thing progresses, we see the passing of the torch to the next generation that has those skills that they had when they were young. And that was fantastic to watch here. So yeah, agree with you. Great spots. Fantastic back and forth between these two vets. The outside of the ring, the inside of the ring stuff. Cesaro certainly looked like he was going to get the victory. A couple of spots was very believable. I mean, that uppercut into the thing was
God, I forgot. How did I not mention that?
Yeah, that
springboard to the uppercut looked so painful.
Brutal. I thought that was it.
And
I would have accepted that.
My co-host Jamie, he got a wrestling ring, and this weekend I went to his house to go mess with it, and we only wrestled for. I should actually preface that. We only messed around in the ring. I don't want to call it wrestling.
Okay.
We only messed around in the ring for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes or something, like 15 at the most. And I was trying to take flat back bumps. I was trying to because Jamie knows how to do it. So I was trying to just see, because I've never messed around in the ring. Like I wouldn't want the times I've been around a wrestling ring where I worked championship wrestler from Hollywood. I didn't want to mess with her. I didn't want to go in there. It's sacred. You know what I mean? I don't want to go in there and having fun when it's that's their place of work. Right. So, but my point of all this is we wrestled for maybe 10 minutes. And that night we were both so sore.
Yeah, I bet.
We were my girlfriend was icing her neck. I'm like, my shoulders kind of hurt.
Your girlfriend was doing it. Erica was doing it too?
She was doing it too. Yeah, she's the one who actually injured me. She, we were running the ropes or whatever, and I said, oh, well, you duck the clothesline,
right,
and then come back at me and clothesline me down. And she's okay. So then she did that, and she clotheslined me down, and I went back, but I didn't take a proper bump, and I flopped to my shoulder when she clotheslined me.
So your girlfriend injured you?
No, I'm not injured. I felt soreness in my arm because I wrestled for 10 minutes.
I understand why you like the Kanellis storyline now.
No, I got her back though. I got her back when she went down for something, and I was giving her the kicks on the ground, but I was trying to do the thing where you stomp while you do it. So but then I kicked her way too hard, in the hip, and she got all mad.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Got a little carried away.
It's all fun and games when someone gets their hip broken. Should we move on to the fights? After
Makuga?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. He fights, then he takes on Sami.
Sami Zayn.
Yeah, which was quick and in and out.
You know what I've noticed, though?
It didn't bother me, though.
This is the second time it's happened now, though.
With Sami?
With Sami. Remember it happened on Smackdown once, too, semi-recently? I could have sworn it happened semi-recently. Right. And we were all like, oh, we were really looking forward to Rey Mysterio versus Sami, and then it didn't happen because something really quick happened like that.
They're just laying the groundwork?
I think they're laying the groundwork. Now that they've done it twice, I feel like they're laying the groundwork for Sami versus Rey down the line for like an actual program between the two of them.
Great.
That's what I think. It just feels that way to me when now it's like, now Sami has a reason to dislike Rey Mysterio. It wasn't a one-time fluke. Now it's happened twice.
Yeah, and he's super mad.
And he's super mad about it. Yeah. And, you know, he, on Raw, too, he had the, that's when it was on the Raw reunion. When that one wasn't quick, though. It's the third time they've wrestled, because there was a quick one on SmackDown, I remember. Then he had the moment with the Legends on the Raw reunion. And now this. They have to be laying the groundwork for that. I feel like they've moved on from Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio, clearly. And I feel like that's going to be the next thing in line for Rey Mysterio.
Sorry, Dominic.
Sorry, dude. So that's not much to say. And then Andrade, that was so much fun to see them rekindle this thing. Andrade is so good.
He is so good.
He's so good.
I'm glad that he's getting the shine again. And I loved his attire.
Me too. It looks really cool, right?
Yep. And
I didn't want to say that because I've said it 2 times now about people, but it looked really cool.
It's strong attire. Yeah. And Zelina getting more involved in the match is really good as well, having her be a potent part of this situation. Them getting into it, so much fun. And then, of course, in the end, it was Andrade. It was a little bit weird how it ended, and then he was trying to take the mask off. And then, of course, out comes Ricochet, and they go at it, and that's an even better match. What a fantastic gauntlet to do here right after the 24/7, right after the Kanellis stuff. It's really great to go like, okay, we're at our fun. Now let's get to the business of why you guys came.
I think that this is one of those, that this is like, I feel like the first hour of the show. Yeah. I think that's that incredible. The first hour of the show.
Pretty incredible.
And to me, it was a perfect example of like the things we've been missing. Yeah. Of like, there was fun, zany moments, soap opera-like stuff with the Kanellises and the 24/7 title, and Drake Maverick and his wife, and R-Truth and Carmella. There was like this big, crazy soap opera thing with that, you know. And then after, there's this dope wrestling match where it's like a long match between multiple guys that are talented, that are guys that you want to see spotlighted on a show. And it really, to me, you know, it felt like a Heyman thing for sure, because it was almost like these are going to be some of the guys that I'm getting behind. And there's another one later too that it feels like Heyman is getting behind, a few of them. But it really just was like, this is clearly like a shift almost to me in terms of Raw, at least. Raw hadn't really been getting stuff like this. SmackDown more. We'd had gauntlet matches on SmackDown. And I guess there was the one that Seth Rollins did that helped him get over.
Yeah, but it didn't have the same kind of like Kofi's gauntlet matches stand out like crazy.
And the Seth Rollins one did too, when he he had that one that everyone was it didn't click for me personally as much as everyone else, but a lot of people did. And I don't know if this one person stood out from this gauntlet like the others, but I think everyone kind of shined.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Andrade really, man, I want them to find something for him to do where he's on my TV every week. Like, not just kind of like one of the guys that sometimes gets wins and sometimes doesn't. Like, I would like to see something where he's like given a real thing.
I 1,000% believe that if he was better on the mic in terms of his English, and this is not a criticism, it's just the truth, I think he would be on our TV every week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just frustrating that it has to be the thing that holds him back. Let Zelina do all the promos.
I was just saying, especially, it's even more frustrating.
Let her do all the promos.
It's even more frustrating because he has Zelina. You go, what do you care?
Yeah.
Zelina's awesome.
Yeah. Why
Zelina's great.
He need to be the one. Yeah. Right. Just let her do all the... It's working for Lesnar and fucking Heyman. So what's the difference?
If anything, it enhanced Lesnar.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because when Lesnar finally talks, you listen.
Yeah.
And you go, whoa, shit. Lesnar's finally talking.
Right.
He's not letting Heyman do the talking for him. That means he's really mad.
Right.
You know? So, I don't understand why that's a thing either. It shouldn't. But yeah, I mean.
But maybe it's Andrade's call too. Maybe he's like, I don't want Zelina to do all the promos. I want to do all the promos. That's certainly possible too. They have a great relationship.
I'm sure he realizes that that's just like you said, not a criticism, but I'm sure he realizes that that's something that will hold him back if he doesn't, and that's why he's working on it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Great match. Certainly sets up AJ Styles, who was watching in the background or in the backstage area, right, watching the whole match. AJ Styles versus Ricochet. This is going to be an awesome match.
And I liked how he was watching real amped from the backstage area all night. Like he was like
He's an animated guy.
For the other tag match, he was like in there like, really like into it while watching. But I mean, I like that we're continuing with Ricochet versus AJ Styles. We got kind of like sidetracked from it for a second.
If Ricochet wins, then it could be an Andrade Ricochet program, which would be fantastic.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Because Andrade and Ricochet was so good.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't believe they haven't really. I don't think they've really crossed paths. I don't think at NXT they crossed paths.
I don't remember if they crossed paths.
I don't think they did. I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Yeah.
And so I completely agree that. I mean, I don't. The problem is I don't see them taking the United States title off of AJ Styles. Not yet.
Right.
So that does make it a little difficult.
Everything, because now we'll find out. They have 3 titles now.
Yeah. So I don't see that being a thing. And if anything, it almost feels like they're maybe gonna do some sort of New Day versus the Club thing to kind of like play off of like the stables that all have titles. You know, they have, because New Day has all the titles on SmackDown.
Yeah, right.
OC has all the titles on Raw. So I feel like they're going to maybe go in that direction.
Yeah, I can buy that. All right, let's move on to a moment of bliss. Some would argue my favorite part of the night. No, it's not true. Alexa came out there with Nikki Cross. They had a back and forth talking about everything with Becky Lynch. Then they show the video of Becky Lynch running into a training session and putting the disarmor on Natty, which, obviously that was a stage thing. They come back, they talk about how terrible it is. Becky comes on from remote, challenges, tells Alexa, you're talking real tough because we're not face-to-face, but we will be face-to-face soon. And then just when it starts to get ramped up again, boom, the Usos come out. So what do you think of this whole, you're kind of done with Moment of Bliss, aren't you?
Oh, I hate it.
Right.
But I loved the found footage idea.
Yes.
Or like not found footage, it's the fact that just like the backstage cameras, or the hard cam's always rolling during the day, which there's no way it is. But I'm sure it's rolling for training type stuff. But like,
I'm sure there's editing.
But I hate. Not hate, that's a strong word. Okay. I don't enjoy the Moment of Bliss segments, but I love when they kind of like add a hint of realism to the show. And I felt like, showing that there's training going on in the ring before the show, and having Becky Lynch show up and just knee fit Finley in the ball sack, like that was all funny, and then her yelling at Natty and stuff. I liked it just because it's just different. It's not something you see all the time. It's not something you see them do all the time.
Right.
Like, here's something that happened in the ring during the day.
Also, it's not something a face does because they're turning Natty the heel.
True.
But this is once again, this is the Becky Lynch that people like, is that walk in the line Becky Lynch.
I was going to say that next.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was the first time I've seen them kind of skew back in the right direction of the Becky Lynch I enjoyed.
God, I hope Heyman is like, no, we're changing Becky to be this again.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because kneeing Finley in the balls is much more in line with what she was doing when she was at the peak of her overness. Is not caring about that kind of thing. I mean, Finley's an Irish wrestling legend.
Yeah.
And the fact that she didn't care and she just kneed him in the balls so that she could get what she wanted. That's the Becky Lynch that everyone started to get into. That's
Absolutely.
the man. That's the one that everyone likes. So I enjoyed seeing them get back there a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Becky makes a crack about Alexa's injuries, injury concerns, injury woes, and all this jazz. Tries to kind of break them up a little bit. So they're still laying that story groundwork of like, is Nikki going to turn on Alexa eventually? Blah blah blah.
Although Nikki was more heel than I expected in the actual match.
Yes, she was, and we'll get to that in just a second. But this is an okay promo, but certainly reinforced what's going to happen in SummerSlam, and this is going to pay dividends later in the show as we see what happens. But let's move on to this triple threat tag team championship match, because as I said, the Usos interrupted Becky Lynch. They come down, Gallows and Anderson, the Revival. This was fantastic.
So good.
It's amazing what happens when people are motivated to do good work and they feel inspired to do good work or pushed to do good work, and they're allowed to do the work in the ring. This thing had a chance to breathe, and it was great.
It's also one of those things where for so long we were kind of like deprived of tag team wrestling. At least a good tag team wrestling. Right. I know that like we get it in bursts, and I hope that this is another sign of the Heyman thing where he's like, no, just go out there and put on awesome tag team wrestling because these three teams are so capable of that. All three of these teams are the three of the best tag teams in professional wrestling, you know? So I think that, a revived club, the OC, were killing it. I think that the Usos had something to prove because of their public issues that have been made public. Jimmy's public things, they felt like they had something to prove. And the Revival just doing their thing is, one of the best tag teams in professional wrestling that they have been for a while now. So I think that, this match was put together so well, but just honestly, the final moment, like the final after the commercial break, was just like, whoa, oh shit, from the suplex to the outside to Dash doing that tornado DDT off the side of the barricade to just so many different things happening in the match that I was just like, whoa,
There's so many great spots.
So many.
Right? And listen, this is, how can I say this correctly? This has the vibe of NXT in the main room.
100%.
And that is fantastic.
It's like they brought they're at a comedy show and they brought their backstage act to the main room.
Right. Who'd been killing it in the back room. They're going to bring him up in the main room, see what he can do. And he's killing it, or she's killing it in the main room, either way. And this I enjoyed so much because, ECW was built this way, doing the smaller indie route, doing the more chances, the bigger spots, blah, blah, blah. And NXT is kind of a birth out of ECW, and now it seems to be paying dividends to the top of the road. And that's how you combat AEW. You synthesize the product. You make the independent vibe into the top dog vibe, and you make it work. And that's how the Attitude Era worked. And they're doing a version of, they're not going to go back to the Attitude Era and that crap, but they are going to kind of, in essence, bring the vibe of that Attitude Era back in terms of the type of wrestling and things happening in the wrestling ring. And I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely. I think I couldn't agree more. I feel like that, the getting back to the wrestling being awesome is so important.
Yes.
And that's the only way they're going to combat AEW. If AEW is like, we have the best wrestling, and they go, no, you don't. Look at our show. Then that's where the real, I think, battle is going to be for the hardcore wrestling fan. And this is the kind of stuff that attracts the hardcore wrestling fan. I mean, I rewatched it again just so I could have, because I loved it. I watched it again this morning because I loved it. Well, I also wanted to talk about it here, but I also was into it though. Still, I was still engaged because it was such a good match.
Do you like the decision to put the belts on the OC? Oh, because the Revival, it was a big deal for the Revival to win it for the Shane storyline, but they haven't been seen with Shane for a couple weeks now.
I was just going to say, if there's any indication that Shane stable that you thought was going to happen isn't happening, it's this. Drew McIntyre has been moved away from them too. And so, into his own thing, moved away from the Revival. So I think that if they're going to rebuild the OC, if they're going to try and make the OC a real thing that is a viable threat in the company that is looked at seriously, I think that this will be the way to do it for sure. I think that they deserved it. I couldn't believe that they were taken off the road when they were not too long ago. So I'm glad they've re-signed and they're getting an actual push now. I just hope that it's not done because they re-signed and that it's going to go back to the way it was in a year.
It'll depend on how the fans react to the OC.
True.
It'll depend on if they bring it in the ring. That's really number one for Gallows and Anderson. All the great stuff you've done all over the world is fantastic. Now you're getting a shot with the belts. What can you do in that ring? Create those great matches. You have the opportunity. I think there was some truth into what Rollins said in that interview. Once you get the opportunity, you got to be able to run with the ball. So you've got the opportunity, you got the belt. What can you do with it? What can you push for? What can you fight for? Let's see it in the ring. And then you can get over with the fans because that's what they really want.
I also laughed during this segment when they came out, the OC, and Michael Cole said, the OC stands for the only original club that matters. And I thought to myself, wait, that's not the right initials if that's what that stands for. Wouldn't that be more initials? It would be a lot more than the OC. If the OC stands for the only official club that matters, their handle would be different. Just wanted to point that out.
Oh, Cole. All right. The Viking Raiders, they took on Johnny James and Cole Carter. Who knows if you'll hear their names again, but it in essence was another squash match for the Viking Raiders, just to give them some work, I guess, and keep them on TV. But now that this title is kind of roaming around with, I guess the OC winning it, doesn't mean the Viking Raiders can come forward because they're heels themselves at this point. But I want the Viking Raiders to start getting in the mix for this stuff. And it's time. It's time. We all know who they are. We've all been through the experience. We all took the ride. Now let's see what the next step is. Let's do this thing. So did you like them? Another squash match?
I mean, it is what it is. Not like I dislike it or like it.
Yeah.
I do think it's good establishing them. I don't think that just having them rushed out and beating established talent was the way to do it initially. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think those things they show them backstage are kind of, I can't tell if I like them yet.
I don't. But I don't hate them. I just don't. I get what they're going for, but when you've got stuff like what the Fiend is doing, or what the Fiend is doing, it kind of, in comparison, isn't as strong or as powerful. So the red light and the smoke and all of that, I get it, but I don't know, until you get into the ring with actual competition consistently, that kind of stuff doesn't carry weight. When they finally do, I think it will carry weight because they'll have more to say. Same thing with the Usos,
Fair.
right?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Usos doing
like
all
the Uso
their
penitentiary
all that didn't take off until the Usos started getting back in the mix for the titles. And so that matters. That gives you a little more weight to your vignettes.
I do think if they were
promos.
If they were cutting a promo there, I would like it more. If my memory serves me correctly, they're just standing there kind of like...
Yeah. It's like a deleted scene from Mandy. So I don't, no offense. I mean, I just think there's a better way to work these guys, and they got to find it because these guys are great. They just got to find the way to work it a little bit better.
I think it's also like the producer in me.
Yeah.
I go like, what are they? Where are they supposed to be?
Yeah.
Like, what is that room?
Right.
Like, at least sometimes like with like Stardust, we were supposed to know he was like in like he had some kind of like cosmic, I think he had like a cosmic wonderland or something like that. Where, he's in the cosmic wonderland, or like the Ascension. Oh, they're in the wasteland,
right?
You know, but you're like, where are they? Where are they?
I mean, what if they had wrestlers? Well, this is too far, isn't it? If they had wrestlers like up on torture devices, the people that they'd beaten over the last few weeks, every one of those guys goes into the dungeon and is hung up on a torture device. That would be awesome.
And then they hit one of them with a pedigree from the top of a Hell in a Cell. I'm just kidding. No, I like it. I like the idea. I like the idea.
You know what I'm saying? So then you get the idea. Oh, they're squashing all these guys because they're just like showing you what they can do, and it's a house of horrors with these dudes.
I like that a little more. It's Viking-esque.
Yeah, it's Viking-esque. Yeah,
I'm
just saying.
Having all the jobbers in a torture zone behind them.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure those guys would drive to be a part of a vignette in the back or a promo in the back and get paid for the day. So I'm just saying, if you're gonna job them, give them a little extra days. I'm sure they're not gonna mind. All right, Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss, which is what we referred to earlier, takes off here. This is I think it's a good match. Right. Alexa was good. There's no boring here. There's none of those chants break out. The lot of Becky chants, though, which I think people were now, they felt like they were, how can I say this? It felt to me like the chains were taken off of them and they could now start chanting Becky even more because of that backstage footage showing Becky doing her old school stuff that got her the love of the fans. This was a good back and forth, great match. And then eventually the fake injury for Alexa. Did a nice job selling that.
And I was saying, she played it off well.
She cried like for real.
Yeah,
He was like, oh, this is real. I'll buy this.
Yeah, totally.
And I thought, because I've seen the injury angle many times. But I thought, oh, is this not real? And then everybody coming out and taking over. But then, of course, it turns into Nikki doing her thing. And then Nikki and Becky go at it. And Becky beats her, like straight up beats her. And then, of course, Alexa comes in, kicks the crap out of Becky for a little bit. And then Natty comes in and really puts the hammer down. What did you think of all of this?
I thought Alexa killed it.
She did.
Yeah, I thought that, the fact that you said that, that you actually, you were able to suspend your disbelief and actually think that maybe she was injured for a second. I saw my co-host Jamie was tweeting the same thing, like, man, she's a great actress.
Yes, she really sold that.
Yeah, so I feel like she killed it. I thought it was interesting that Nikki was more heel this time.
Nikki was more. Nikki's now a heel.
Yeah.
Now she's a heel.
The fact that she hit Becky during the match straight up cheap shot at her, that's like, well, okay.
Unwarranted.
Right.
Becky didn't do anything to Nikki.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that she talked shit on her in the promo.
Yeah.
Where she said, like, she wasn't representing for Scotland or whatever.
Right. But, everybody talks shit. The Irish-Scottish thing, I don't know if that plays into it, too.
I also, yeah, totally. So if someone said to me, like, you're not representing America well, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's your opinion. Cool.
Cool, dude. Cool, bro. I'm going to 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Cool, bro. Get me a Slurpee, bro.
I'm going to hit my vape. Leave me alone.
Yeah, right. America, bitches.
Go blow some clouds. So I like that. I liked the Nikki's. I liked the match. I didn't care if she lost. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
She's still way beneath Becky in terms of everything on the roster right now.
How ironic is that? Alexa used to beat Becky for
No, I mean Nikki.
Oh, Nikki, right.
Nikki. And then the post-match stuff with Alexa running in was done brilliantly.
With Natty, and Alexa coming in, and then
Alexa
Natty
coming
in.
And I liked almost that you thought Natty was going to help Becky for a second to like even the odds. She was like, no, I'm just taking more advantage of it and putting her in the sharpshooter. So yeah, I liked all that. The Natty promo came after that.
After,
right?
Yeah. She came back. I was going to jump into that, but first I wanted to jump into the commentary stuff.
Okay.
So this was where they finally referenced. I mean, Corey Graves made that reference about what happened with Natty. With Renee Young yesterday or 2 days ago on Twitter.
You're right. They did.
And I thought it was important to bring up on the show because they do reference, Corey Graves referenced it in the middle of commentary because Cole said to Renee, "Can I finish my story?" And then Corey said she's been jumping on people. She's been in a mood.
He said she's got a real big head today after Twitter was saying all these positive things about her.
Which I thought was fascinating for them to actually talk about it. And I thought this was great because I'm sure you were tagged on it. I was tagged on it. And you commented to Renee, which I thought was really nice of you. And I want to clarify my own position here. I don't have a problem with Renee on the side. I think she's gotten better, certainly, but I think she belongs in the lead role. That's been my point the whole time. I think that's where she shines best.
And I feel like that's been muddled on here because we had a conversation, I think, off camera. We were talking about it recently, and when you kind of made me realize that you were like, no, I just want her to be the Michael Cole, and for Cole to be
on the side.
Yeah, that made sense to me. Or maybe that was when we were talking about SmackDown when Cole was on SmackDown. But that makes sense.
Yeah, the comments were like, "Oh, she's not doing so." Yeah, it's not her natural thing to do that, which is why it's taking her a bit of time to figure it out because she's used to leading a show. She's not used to being on the side doing commentary like Corey Graves is. I don't think that's her natural inclination. So that's difficult to change your way of doing it. So I think that's the situation at the end of the day. People should be way nicer to this and understand what's happening to Renee. My issue is she deserves to be front and center and leading this Raw place, and Michael steps to the side. I think that's the better thing for everybody because then her and Graves can still go at it, and even more so, which I think would be fantastic. So,
agreed. And I liked it. I liked that. Twitter, there were people on Twitter who were sticking up for that whole thing. It's that thing is so silly. It's like, it's one thing. I don't know. To me personally, it's like it's one thing to have an opinion. It's one thing to like go tag that person in it. Like I don't know, man. It's just like I sometimes feel like people don't realize like that the people they're tagging on Twitter, they're not bots.
Yeah,
they're real human beings reading these things that are bored. And
they hit a limit where like. The 1 millionth comment, they finally are going to retweet with a comment so that they can say something about it.
I mean, like, the other day, like, I probably shouldn't have posted a screen grab of that guy jokingly saying that he wished someone would pour acid on me.
Oh, right.
But it got to me. It gets to me. That shit gets to you. Like, it can't not get to you. Of course. You're human beings. And it's not necessarily that I care that this one person doesn't like me. It gets to me because, like, man, there's human beings out there that don't realize that like their words hurt other human beings.
It's also the level of vitriol that's not warranted. He's running a wrestling,
which is a
successful wrestling site, which is right fun, and we do the recaps, and he has the Wrestling Sheet Radio. This is all fun stuff.
Yeah.
But to go to acid. Really betrays a level of ignorance in that person. And I'll say that. Come and pour acid on me, I'll break your freaking arms. That is what it is this level of idiocy that is passed off as, oh, it's just joking, I'm being sarcastic. When if someone said that to you repeatedly, you couldn't handle it. And that's where it comes from. That's where the anger comes from. Is these people who didn't do what you're doing, getting upset with how you're doing it, and then threatening you with violence at such an extreme level. Those people, in my opinion, whatever. I don't want to get
honestly. It's weird, after our conversation about outrage culture on your show or whatever, the deep cut.
The deep cut, yeah.
I just was talking to someone, and someone said something to me the other day, a few weeks ago, and it was like, it really resonated with me as like why. It resonated with me on a level of like why I'm trying not to react to things anymore.
Yeah.
And it's someone said to me like, man, everyone's just trying to eat. Everyone's just trying to eat.
Right.
Like, you might not like this person, or you might dislike their reporting, or you might dislike this or that, but they're just trying to eat, man.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to like go try and make their day worse to make your day feel better. Everyone's just trying to eat. And I fall into it sometimes too. I've talked shit on people. I'm trying to be better. I'm only human, know, but like that kind of stuff where you're just like saying you're a terrible person, you should be taken away from your job. Like, that's just so rude.
And it doesn't mean you can't have constructive criticism. That's the thing. There's a way to present criticism that is constructive versus like wanting to pour acid on somebody. There's that kind of stuff for a wrestling opinion.
Yeah.
Like, you create in your mind, warped mind, who this person is in your mind. And you think you're right about how this person is. So therefore you think you're warranted to say what you're saying.
Yes.
And in fact, you really aren't. You really effing aren't until you sit down and talk to this person or get to know this person. Then this level of vitriol says something more about you than it does about the person you're attacking. That's the thing at the end of the day.
Completely agree.
Right? Anyway.
Now let's say something negative about this Natty promo.
Go ahead.
Great segue for that. Say nice things now. Now we got to talk about this fucking Natty promo.
I liked the Natty promo. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Don't pour acid on me. I liked it. Tell me why you didn't like it.
I don't know if you are just saying this.
No.
Because normally you don't like.
I don't normally, you're right.
Yeah, and I'm so confused. The one time
she leaned into being the heel full on and said the relationship is broken. I won't shake her hand even if she offers it.
It's about being
Finally,
professional.
she made a choice.
It's about being professional. And at SummerSlam, after I beat Becky Lynch, she's not going to want to shake my hand, and I wouldn't want to shake her hand if she gave me her hand because I don't trust her.
Right.
Don't write me on that.
It's a great promo.
And then it's like...
Well, not great. It's a good
it's like, I'm going to challenge her to a submission match because she doesn't have... Her submission move is not as good as mine.
She's leaning into the heel thing.
But I'm not actually challenging her to a submission match.
If she's willing to accept my challenge.
No. She said... She's not giving the challenge anymore.
Oh.
It was like...
I thought she said if she's willing to accept my challenge.
No.
She said that.
No, she said at the end of it that she's not making that challenge.
Okay.
Which was very confusing.
To me...
See, even you're confused by it now.
To me, I think she was just laying the groundwork of everything that's coming here.
It's clearly going to be a submission match
This is not done, by the way.
No.
Whatever happens at SummerSlam, it's not done.
You don't think it's done at SummerSlam?
No.
I do.
I think they're going to let this go a little bit longer because I think Becky needs a foil. I don't think Alexa's the foil. I don't think Nikki's that foil. Natty could be that foil. Natty's done good heel work in the past. I'm not the biggest fan of them giving her the opportunity. But that being said, I liked what she did running in on Lynch, and I liked this promo because she's basically saying, and she said that horseshoe out of your ass last week, right? This is the angle she's taking. It is a jealousy angle. It is an angle that Natty worked her ass off for years to achieve what Becky could do almost overnight. And it probably, in real life, bothers a lot of the ladies in the back there, no matter what they say publicly, because there's jealousy, no matter what gender you are, there's jealousy once someone's at the top of the pile. And so she got there when she used to be the count that people could count on her to take the loss against them. Now they have to lose to her consistently. And she has overshadowed the women's division, transcended the women's division and the men's division to be a superstar regardless of gender. And I'm sure that frustrates people. So to play the angle, I'm not saying Natty believes this, but I'm saying to play the angle of jealousy, to play the angle of like, I'm better than her, she got lucky, blah, 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 then that leans into being more of a heel, and I like it. It's a new approach to it versus Charlotte's approach to it or anybody else's approach to it. So I get why you're upset, but I liked it.
Got all of that.
I did.
From this terrible promo, and you know I love Natty.
You do.
I love Natty.
And I'm not always on her side.
In the whole time of this show, I don't think I've ever said I didn't like a Natty thing.
Yeah, it's true.
If you liked that and you got all that from this promo, then I'm just gonna accept it. I'm just gonna let you take this one, Rocha. You take the W here. I'll take it.
All right, there's no W, it's just a difference of opinion. That's all. All right, let's move on to another.
I'm Team Natty, so
yeah,
I'll give you the W here. I'll give you the W. Take it.
Right,
just accept it.
All right, fine. All right, let's move on to something that's going to split us again. Maria Kanellis celebrating her 24/7 championship, shrilly screaming about her championship, which is, of course, what she's going to do because she's playing that heel kind of vibe to it. Talking about how, threatening people, walking up to them going, do you want to pin a pregnant woman, blah, blah, blah. And then was interrupted by, no, wait, I'm sorry. She pins Mike in the back, tells him to lay down because she wants her unborn child to be a champion.
No, she wants to be the champion. That has nothing to do with her child.
She says her unborn child can be a champion as well.
But I don't think they specified that the unborn child is the champion because I saw people on Twitter asking that question last night. From the way it seemed, it's just Maria who is champion right now.
Right, it is.
I don't think in the record books, unborn child is considered champion. She said,
I want my unborn child to be a champion.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's the champion, yes.
Yeah.
Not the unborn child.
I don't think the unborn, but
that's a great wrestling.
It's really hard to pin that baby.
I'm telling you.
If she like laid down on her back and is like, no, technically the baby is champion because I'm on my back and I'm being pinned by the baby in my stomach right now. Oh, man. And you can't pin the baby in my stomach.
But the perfect time to pin the baby
is right when it's born.
Yes. Or
so there's a whole gallery of wrestlers waiting outside the delivery room.
Oh my God.
So that they can pin the baby once it comes out.
Yep. I just want to see the rubber glove pin the baby.
You've got whole training montages of Maria like with the baby training her baby to be a better wrestler when he comes out of the womb.
See, maybe they'll win me over eventually if they do that.
This is all set up for gold.
Yeah. I'm always willing to be won over if it works. And this is certainly
You love Hogan. This was just like the finger poke of doom in 2019.
I didn't like that. Oh, the finger poke. 2019?
No, in 2019. This is like our finger poke of doom. She literally made Mike get down and then she stood on his chest.
Maybe one of the worst things I'd ever seen was a finger. I hated that. Wow. And I was mad at that.
This is better.
Yeah, well, okay. Marginally so, but yes. We'll see. I mean, you could also pin her while she's having the baby, or pin the baby while she's having the baby, because she's up in the stirrups, and her shoulders don't have to be down. You can just lay on top of her baby and pin the baby if you're that cruel. So
I was also wondering if maybe like King Maxwell, like Matt Hardy's kid, can pin him because he's a child.
He is a child.
He can pin a pregnant woman.
Sure.
He's not a grown man putting too much weight on a woman.
Right.
There's so many options. I also saw someone pointed out that Maurice is also pregnant, so maybe she could run into Maurice at the OBGYN and Maurice pins her.
That's possible.
And then she just gives the title to Mike.
I like that idea.
I like that idea too. So I could see that going. I really hope they didn't set up that OBGYN thing though to not go through with it.
Yeah.
I really hope that they do some sort of segment where R-Truth is like in a doctor's mask and like doing the thing, and then Carmella comes in. There's so many.
There really is.
There's so many things.
There's a lot, you're right. There's a lot of things you can go to. But Braun Strowman came in randomly.
That was weird. Yeah. That made me wonder if Nicholas is maybe going to get involved, because there was that video.
Nicholas.
There was that video of Nicholas saying he wants to focus on the 24/7 title at the Raw reunion show, and I assumed it was just a silly backstage video they were doing because he was there because his dad works in the company
as a referee.
But I'm wondering now if Braun is going to get annoyed by Maria screaming about being pregnant all the time and have Nicholas become a 2-time champion in WWE.
That's possible.
Because it was funny when it was Braun backstage. It was just him going like.
Yeah, because she said, "Show me how much of a man you big and strong you are. Pin me."
And he just starts grunting. Sounded like he was snoring for a second. But honestly, when she was walking around holding her belly and holding the title up, all that kind of stuff, I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. I was cracking up. It was my favorite thing on Raw.
Do you think this
by far?
Do you think this is the moving away from R-Truth? They're going to give them the run a little bit with this 24/7 title?
Say it again?
Do you think they're moving away from R-Truth now to let Kanellis, the Kanellises or whatever they are, the Kanellises take kind of take the lead here on the 24/7 title of the next few episodes?
That sounds right. Yeah.
So R-Truth kind of recedes in the back for a little bit.
I don't know if I'd say recedes in the back. I just think that I feel like they've been thrusted into the 24/7 title situation.
Renee could pin her too. Renee Michelle.
I'm hoping that
woman
happens.
to woman.
That'd be so funny if while she's got her legs up, you just see Renee sneak in and puts her arms over. You know, 1 2 3.
Perfect. That'd be perfect. While she's doing the exercise, Lamaze exercises. All right, let's move on to our last thing of the night here. Seth Rollins. Oh, well, no, actually not the second to last. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler comes out imitating Shawn Michaels. Oh, Ziggler, always after my heart. Great stuff coming in there, doing the whole heartbreak, and then bashes Goldberg, bashes Shawn, says we don't want to see old people doing their thing. Goes at it with Rollins. This was great, good, fun match, really enjoyable match. Each one giving as good as they got. A lot of strong movements here, and then just as Rollins gets the upper hand later on in the match, Lesnar comes out and absolutely destroys Rollins, which I enjoyed. Not for a personal thing, but I like the way it went down.
No,
right. I like Rollins a lot.
I personally enjoyed seeing his blood and guts.
Hit him again.
It's funny, the HBK music, they did well. Because I actually was like, oh, is HBK going to make a surprise appearance on Raw? Are they going to continue this? And they show Rollins' face all excited, little happy young boy about to see Shawn Michaels again. Coming to his aid, but no, instead it's that dastardly Dolph Ziggler, which I enjoyed. I liked it. Match was good. Yeah. It was fun. There was some good stuff in there. And yet, but the Brock stuff. Oh. Chef's kiss.
It was.
Chef's kiss. I love when he does that kind of stuff. I mean, it's always fun when Brock shows up out of nowhere and just destroys someone. It's fun to watch Brock destroy anyone at any time, honestly. Sure. I get a kick out of it. So the whole Brock thing did a great job of like building up sympathy for Seth Rollins, of making Brock just look like a total unstoppable force. Yeah. I mean, those German suplexes on the outside looked so brutal. Yeah. That like F5 like thing when he just tossed him into the turnbuckle on the side, the ring post. Yeah. The ring post. All of it, I was just like, oh man. Even when he sat down all AC Slater preppy like over Seth Rollins on the chair, you just like, oh, what a dick, And I love it. And Heyman, perfect Heyman. He looked like he looked like a general following, like this is my soldier, you know, like
proud general,
like a proud general watching like his soldiers go to work, you know, and just brutal. I saw people got a little ridiculous on Twitter last night about like the blood thing. It was clearly not real blood. Like, of course, we see real blood in wrestling enough to know when it's like real blood. That was clearly like a capsule that he popped in his mouth and was like, bleh, like letting it spill out of his mouth. The way it was dripping, you could tell it wasn't blood. And the fact that I made a joke about it on Twitter where I said like blood and guts, because Vince McMahon during the investor call kind of talked a little bit threw a little shade on AEW for using blood, and said that he didn't think that TNT would be okay with all the blood and guts of AEW. So
graduated from that crap.
Exactly. Yeah. So then people were, oh no, he's doing it. It's clearly not the same thing at all. Dustin was covered in blood. Yeah. The ring was covered in blood. Cody had to get 10 staples in his head from that chair shot.
Page 2.
So it's like page 2. So it's like, calm down. Some people that were comparing the two.
Nowhere near.
But it was a fun sight. Like it looked cool. It was very cinematic, like that kind of a thing. And then even better when they get taken to the back or whatever, and he's being ushered out, and then Brock I love it when it just stopped, and you go, oh no, what's gonna happen to poor Seth Rollins, poor Architect, and then Brock goes, don't you move, to the driver, which I loved. Imagine being in a car and someone goes, don't move. He doesn't have a gun. Just fucking peel out, man. He's not gonna do anything.
Not an ambulance. It's not that fast.
It's fast fast enough.
I guess.
It's faster than a Brock Lesnar.
I don't know.
True.
I don't want to find out.
This isn't my battle.
Yeah, I don't want to find out.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So then he pulls him out, and that F5 on the stretcher looked brutal. That looked so painful.
Yeah.
Just landing those are like bars. Like those are painful.
It reminded me of what NWO did to The Rock.
Yeah, totally.
That was basically their apex when they came back to the WWE. That particular moment, all of that whole scene was incredible, and it had a lot of shades of what Lesnar did to Rollins. And you're right, that F5 onto the gurney or the stretcher, holy Mary Mother. And Rollins does a great job of selling that stuff.
He sold like $1 million.
Right? Oh.
When he got that one German suplex and he was on the ground and he had his hand twitching. And you were like, that's just good selling. I'm sorry. That's great. Like, because I legitimately had people in my comments of like, no, I'm pretty sure that was real. Like, his hand was twitching. And I'm like, come on, guys. But...
Dude, the hand twitch and the leg twitch is the best.
Yeah, that's a nice little extra addition. But no, Brock killed it. Made himself look like $1 million. And it's funny, but it also makes me laugh when people go, Brock's never on the show. And then when he's on the show a bunch to build up to a pay-per-view, then they go like, well, I just hate seeing Brock on the show. And you're like, well, which one is it? Do you want Brock to be on the show? Or do you or not? Like obviously he's good to have on the show. Don't pretend, you can't front and say Brock on the show consistently isn't good for the product. I'm sorry. That's how I feel.
I think it frustrates wrestling fans that they can't control him.
That is what it is.
Yeah, they can't have him.
He doesn't care what they think.
Right. That's more than anything else, right? And the WWE gives him the opportunity to do that, which frustrates wrestling fans, the old school wrestling fans even more, and so that's the situation. But Brock has a new way of doing things. Like I was seeing on Twitter, the Jordan Grace, Jim Cornette back and forth about the approach to wrestling versus the old school approach and the new school approach. Hey, everything changes. Everything transitions. So Lesnar doing the way he's doing it works for the ratings and the money, and the crowd was into it like crazy. Dude, that's what you want.
Fire for Brock. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, listen to that crowd.
Yep.
And the last time when he was fighting, when he came out, you go, don't tell me that crowd didn't want Brock Lesnar to come out. I can see all you people on the internet who complain or whatever, but don't tell me that those people who paid their hard-earned money to go be there for a live show didn't lose their minds when they heard Brock Lesnar's music hit. I'm sorry. That's how you could just listen to them. They went crazy.
Yeah, agreed. And listen, you could have ended the show there and you would have been fine. But no, there was more, which was a Samoan summit here between Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe. They ended up taking out the Usos and Roman Reigns in the backstage area. I think that was the OC and Samoa Joe. They beat the crap out of them back there. Samoa Joe goes into the ring, calls out Reigns, says you've got any Gus to show up. Reigns does show up. They go at it.
But wait, real fast.
Yeah.
Before we explain everything, I laughed prior when the ambulance thing was about to start, and Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns and the Usos, everyone starts fighting. I laughed because WWE fed a story to the media. They fed it to the Rap that a Samoan summit was happening on Raw. Like they literally went on record, had a major publication. The Rap's a big publication. Had a big publication break that story on their website, only to not do it.
Yeah.
WWE, don't feed a story to the media that you're doing a segment only to not do it.
Right.
That's a bit ridiculous. Like, it's one thing to like change your mind, or you guys announced it online and something changed. And yes, you played it off and didn't completely ignore it, but at least it was referenced.
Yes.
But I just laughed that it was like everyone, the Rap made a big deal. There's going to be a Samoan summit. And everyone's like, Samoan summit online. And then it wasn't a thing. We were all like, what's that mean?
Yeah.
It meant nothing. Does that mean they're going to go watch a bunch of Moana movies together? Does it mean they're going to haka dance? I don't know, possible. That's a haka dance, right?
Yeah, the haka.
That's New Zealand.
No, that's New Zealand.
New Zealand.
That's the Maori.
But what's isn't there one?
There's a version of it that...
Because The Rock always kind of like...
Right, there's a version of it it's Polynesian, yes.
Okay, there's a more Polynesian one.
Right.
Okay, all right.
I hope I'm right. Don't kill me.
I know. I hope I'm right too. We're gonna have to cut this joke out.
Oh crap! Don't kill us, Rock.
Moana's Samoan. I'm covered on that one.
Yeah.
I think right. It is right. I never actually saw the movie. Have you seen Moana?
Yes.
Is it right? It's Samoan guy.
He plays Polynesian.
Isn't that Samoan?
He's a demigod.
Isn't that Samoan?
Sure.
Oh man.
I don't know.
Now I'm really gonna have to cut this out. God
I'll be
damn
honest
it.
with you. I don't know. Let's take a look. While you talk about it some more, I'll take a look. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I laughed. The whole Samoan Summit thing that just didn't happen, even though they said that it was gonna happen. I laughed. Any update on this?
Yeah, they said Moana is not from Hawaii, and neither is she from New Zealand. She has to come from Tonga or Samoa, the two first archipelagos where the Polynesian people were born. All right, there you go.
There we go.
All right. No, there you go. Tonga or Samoa.
While you're saying what
Either way, it
happened
holds
after
up.
while you're talking about what happened in the scuttle
right.
after, I'm gonna look up Haka Dance.
That's fine.
I know it's New Zealand, but I'm trying to remember the one is that I was thinking.
The All Blacks do it before every rugby match.
Yeah, that I know.
Chaos reigned until Drew McIntyre came into there. There was a battle there, and then Cedric Alexander, for God's sake, shows up, gets involved in this whole thing. Then the OC comes out from the back and gets involved. The Usos get involved. All of this turns out to an insane melee. A lot of great spots, including Cedric jumping on everybody from the top of the wherever he was. All of that happening was great. So fantastic back and forth. At the end of the day, they get Samoa Joe in the ring. Reigns and the Usos take care of him with Alexander, and they are reigning supreme in the ring. Fantastic way to end Raw, as if the Rollins Lesnar thing wasn't enough. They actually went to slightly the next level with this stuff. And Reigns, in a way, pushing Reigns again. Pushing Rollins again. This is fantastic. These two guys from the Shield getting their shots to be the top dogs in essence in this Raw.
The dance that is like the Haka for the Samoan war dance called the Manu Sivatala.
Sounds
but
right.
it is similar, so
Okay.
I wasn't that far off.
Okay.
Now I feel better. All of this. To me, this is the fact that they're putting Cedric Alexander on this level.
Yeah.
Is Heyman, has to be Heyman stuff, where it was like,
Yep.
if you call back to like the Smackdown 6, where it was like, these are people that he was clearly knew could give something different.
Yeah.
And I have said since the Cruiserweight Classic that Cedric Alexander is money. Like Cedric Alexander is the business, dude. Like that guy is so good.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that he's being put on this platform, I said it since he was the janitor. We both did.
Yep.
And people talk shit then, and anyone who talks shit then really has to eat their words now, because Cedric Alexander got a huge moment at the end of Raw, diving off of the
Titantron,
Titantron, whatever you want to call it.
That was great.
And it's funny. It's funny too when he was gone for a minute, and then they started like pan back. You went, oh, he's about. Where's Cedric Alexander? He's about to jump off that thing, isn't he? Did you have that same vibe when it was coming?
I'd forgotten that he was involved because I was like focused on everything else, and then also Cedric's top. I was like, what the hell?
I saw them all kind of like gathering in one spot.
So you knew something was going to happen.
And I said to my girlfriend, I was like, I'm pretty sure Cedric Alexander's about to jump off something real high. And she was like, where is he even? You don't even see him. I thought he got knocked down on the side of the stage. And I was like, that's why I think he's going to jump off something high. She's like, I don't know. And then like right when she says, I don't know, they pan out and Cedric Alexander's holding on to the rope at the top thing. I was like, I knew it. And he like did the jump off or whatever. But awesome moment.
Yeah.
Cedric Alexander is so deserving of the opportunity. I mean, Cedric Alexander is such a talented dude.
Agreed.
Puts on great matches. I think that he resonates with a certain part of the audience. I think that there's so much about him that I enjoy. I think that he's got a lot of charisma too. He's someone who you haven't gotten to see his charisma, but I do believe he's got a lot of it that we haven't seen. And the fact that he is in a program right now with Drew McIntyre, which is a huge opportunity.
Yeah, they definitely reignited that thing between them.
100%. And that he's closing out Raw alongside Roman Reigns and like the Usos. It's a huge rub, man. Like that's a big deal. And I honestly think he showed why he's in that spot last night. And proved to everyone that he deserves to be there.
Yeah. We'll see how this goes on. What his role is going to be in all of this. But certainly, I think everybody involved in this whole melee at the end here. Once again, after years and years of waiting for this, Raw is fun again. And
absolutely.
Right? This whole episode was a lot of fun. Whether you agree with a couple things or whether you disagree with a couple things or not, this was a fun episode. And that's what you want from Raw. That's what you want from SmackDown. NXT is fun. Yes, give me great wrestling, but give me fun. And this was fun all around. So we'll
absolutely. And you know what? It's one of those things where
it's almost a shame that it wasn't a send-off show.
fair, but I would like every episode to be this good.
Yeah, agreed.
They can be this good.
Yep.
We're a little worried about SmackDown tonight, only because I was told that Vince McMahon called in the creative team today and had them completely rewrite the show. So that's going to be interesting. Okay. It was really fun. I think that, not only was it fun, but it did the thing that we've been asking for. I think that it made every single part of the show feel important.
Yep.
I think that there weren't a lot of moments that felt unimportant. Even a Moment of Bliss, I gave it shit.
Yeah.
But there was the cool stuff with Becky Lynch, and it helped rebuild Becky Lynch as a badass a little bit. So I think that at the end of the day, every single thing helped build something, and that's all we can really ask for. Even if you did or didn't like things, that's when it's fun. It's like, you liked one thing, I didn't, we can discuss that. It's not that we're all going, God, we were so disappointed. We were all just disappointed. That's not how it is, and that to me is proof that WWE wasn't. They're not in any trouble. They were just hired after WrestleMania. WrestleMania is it's always like this. Literally, this happens every year for WrestleMania. There's it's great up until WrestleMania, and then afterwards, everyone's WWE's in the can. And they're just tired because they just did WrestleMania, which is really hard. They all were on target for WrestleMania. And now that they've got a new show that's going to be debuting, not WWE, that they have a competitor's new show is debuting in 2 months or whatever. They're stepping it up a little bit. Yep. And I'm loving it.
Yep, I agree with you. Well, that's our Raw recap for the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Ryan, tell them when they can read, watch, and listen to everything we do.
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website where you can find all the top stories in the world of professional wrestling. At Wrestling Sheet on social media. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where you can find the Raw and SmackDown recaps that we do. That's where you can find Wrestling Sheet Radio, where we talk about all the top stories of the week and more, including an interview that I'm going to be posting later today with former WWE star Big Cass, a.k.a. Kaz XL. It's an intense interview, I'm not gonna lie. We were in here for an hour. We talked about his exit from WWE and how his depression and anxiety and addiction all played a factor into his exit from the company, and how while he was being given all these opportunities and riding a career high, behind the scenes, he was in a mental prison and when he was alone. And all these cool opportunities you saw him getting, it's even hard for him to look back on them in happiness because it's just sad moments that he remembers of how he felt after. But it's also got some good positive stuff in there about, what he did to get out of it, what he's doing now, and plans for the future. So it'll be up there later today. This will go up first, and then I'm gonna start working on that. It'll be up sometime today. Make sure you check it out. So while you're there watching this, while you're here watching this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the page, like this video, all that kind of stuff. So that way you can see the Big Cass video once it goes up. And also, if you want to listen to this, any of the other shows, or the Big Cass interview via audio, you can check out our podcast feeds on all the major platforms. Just search Wrestling Sheet Radio.
There you go. You can follow him at Ryan Satin. Follow me at The Rocha Says. And don't forget, if you want to listen to the top 10, where we welcomed Ryan, Matt Nose, and I did to talk about the top 10 movies featuring a pro wrestler, you can do so wherever you download podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Pocket Cast, wherever you get it, you can download and watch it. Even on YouTube, you can watch it. If you just want to hear the audio through YouTube, you can do it there. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan, for being on the show. And thanks, everybody, for watching. This week, we'll see you tomorrow for a SmackDown Live recap on the Pro Wrestling Sheet.
ProWrestlingSheet.com